We don't want anybody to be that person. We've got the Digital Media Hub. ASAP quotes will be updated there, and Hammond Communications will provide video. So please make sure you use that as a resource. As a reminder, no video in here, only photography is approved. The way we're going to go about today's press conference is once I give the introduction, we're going to ask for an opening statement, and then we're going to take questions. We'll get to as many folks as possible. And with that, it's my privilege to introduce Coach from Creighton, Jim Flannery. Coach, when you're ready.
Okay, thanks, Amy. Well, we're thrilled to be here. I think last weekend was really special and I think incredible for our program, and it hasn't really kind of stopped, but you got to turn the page and then get ready for a really good Iowa State team. So I think our team knows that. I think they've handled their business all year in terms of that. And you know, when we in our league, we play a lot of Fridays and Sundays, and you can have a great win on Friday, but then you got to turn around and by Saturday morning you have to be ready to start getting prepped for that next one. And so we've had some time to prep for Iowa State. We know what a challenge that'll be and how prepared they'll be, but you know, we're thrilled at the opportunity and can't wait for that for tomorrow night. It's strange though that two teams that are 2.5 hours away have to get on an airplane to North Carolina to play, but if that's the way it is, we'll be okay with that.
Thanks, fantastic. Let's go ahead and start with questions. Again, we have a microphone. Let us get you the microphone. Please give us your name and affiliation. We also have our friends here on Zoom, and if there's any questions that the folks that are participating virtually have, please make sure to use the raised hand function. We'll start right down here in the front middle.
Tommy Birch, Des Moines Register. Jim, what's this journey been like for you as an Iowa guy and just everything you've gone through throughout your coaching career to get to where you're at now?
Yeah, I was accused of being too much of a storyteller in Iowa City, but I will tell you that the two schools that I chose from when I came out of high school were Iowa and Creighton. I was not recruited to play basketball at either institution, and you know, had I had a room at Iowa, I might have chosen Iowa, but my parents kind of pushed me to go to Creighton, said if you don't like it, you can leave, and I ended up going there, loved it, and here I am a million years later. But yeah, you know, the Iowa connection to play in Iowa City last weekend and to now play Iowa State is, you know, maybe a little bit extra for me, but at the same time, it's, you know, when you've coached a long time, you have friends all over the profession, or at least you hope you do, and connections all over the profession. So it's not necessarily any different than if we played anybody else. But as far as what it means, I do think our program is in a better place than it's ever been in terms of, you know, when we joined the Big East. Our facilities had already started to get better. They've continued to improve, and we've been able to, I believe, recruit at a little bit higher level. And because we're getting a little bit better players, you know, we're a little bit more competitive, and we're in a league that pushes us and challenges us to raise our game, and you know, so that when we're in a position where we're stressed like we were in Iowa City. Both games, really. The Colorado game was misleading as a 10-point win. It was not a 10-point game. You know, we're in a position where we can execute at the end. So I think that's certainly going to be important. But yeah, I think our program is in great shape because of the commitment that the university's made and because of our, you know, our time in the Big East.
Follow up.
So were you kind of saying that in the grand scheme of things, you were hoping to stay in Iowa and possibly go to Iowa?
Well, yeah, probably either Iowa or Iowa State. I mean, we're, you know, everybody who reads knew that we were probably in a position where we would maybe play either of those two. And I just said if I knew it was going to be warm, then that would be the perfect case scenario, because you either want to go somewhere warm or you want to go somewhere close. And it was actually pretty warm in Iowa City last weekend, so we kind of got the best of both worlds.
I mean, coming out of high school.
Oh, okay. Going back there. I'm sorry, what's the question again? Did I what?
Almost sounded like you had kind of wanted to go to Iowa when you were coming out of high school. Did I read that right?
Well, yeah, but I was 17 or 18, and my parents were kind of telling me they wanted me to go to Creighton. So when you're 17 or 18 and your parents tell you they want you to go one place, you kind of lean the other way just because that's what they're telling you. So I can't really say that it was. And the other part is, when I visited Creighton, it was with my mom. There was a snowstorm, and I had to stay overnight in one of the residence halls in a box room with my mom. So it wasn't the best campus visit from that standpoint, which may have skewed my perception. But anyway, it ended up being a good decision, I think.
Go right down.
I can't believe I remember that.
I loved it. Right
Jeff
down here.
Dubroff, KCCI in Des Moines,
Yeah.
coach, being from Iowa, the Iowa roots, when you go into Iowa City last week and you beat Iowa in front of a sold-out crowd, after the game is over, are there texts from friends and family, maybe, some joking, some having fun, but obviously congratulatory? And then if I can follow up on that, just what has it been like for you? Obviously, you're familiar with these programs, but to have it in the fashion where you're playing one team in the second round, the following team in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, well, in a bus, it's close to 3 hours and 40 minutes from Iowa City to Omaha. Rachel Saunders tells me she can make it in 3:20, but I texted people back the whole time. I mean, I took maybe 2 phone calls, but it was 3.5 hours of texting, and that didn't include the emails that I responded to the following morning. So it was great, but there's numbers in there that I had no idea who was congratulating me. Yeah, I think it's special. I think there was more interest because of the Iowa part of it, and because a lot of my friends growing up are either Iowa or Iowa State fans, and so that certainly plays into it too. So, but yeah, it was a lot to respond to, but I think it also lets you know that people are paying attention. And the other part of that is that it was on ABC in front of almost 15,000 people, which is great for our sport. And I think that what a platform for our program in particular too. And so I think that too has a chance to, I think, elevate our program. But what Iowa girls and women's basketball has done to the sport overall is remarkable too. I think that wasn't lost on me after Sunday too. And I said that. I said that environment is in large part because of what the Iowa program and what is, and also what Iowa State's program is, and how much of a pedestal that girls basketball is on in the state of Iowa.
Take our next question from right behind on our left.
Ellie French from KTV in Omaha. Hi, Flan.
Hi, Ellie.
This is your 20th season with Creighton, which is incredible. Just the commitment to one program and to finally reach this point, what does that mean for you personally, and just how does it feel to see that all come together after 20 years as head coach?
Yeah, I think I was a philosophy major, and I think I can come down from the high and come up from the low maybe a little bit quicker than a lot of coaches. I think I think I majored in philosophy because of who and how I am, but I also think that helped me. I know Kirsten, our volleyball coach, always says, well, you handle losing so much better than I do. And I say, I don't know about that. But I do think that's what has kept me at Creighton, because it's not perfect. No place is perfect. And there's days where you're frustrated, and there's days where, you wish the weather was warmer and you coach somewhere further south. But I do think it's been helpful that I'm kind of wired that way, but also I think because I went to school at Creighton and because I have so many relationships, even from my time as a student and through all that time, in some ways you can't imagine being anywhere else. I mean, for 10 minutes you can, or for an hour you can, or when you read what somebody else is making, you can, but then you reflect and you think that that's not what's important, and what is important are the relationships that I've made and people sticking with me. I mean, Bruce, he's helped me through the not so good times, and when you have that, then you don't want to leave just because the times are good, but because you what you have is authentic, and I think that's so much a part of why I've stayed, and also the growth. I mean, I just talked about like things have gotten better at Creighton. Like we've upped the ante in terms of our commitment, and so when you see that too, you get excited, and that renews your energy. And then the other part is getting in the Big East. I said it was like taking a new job without taking a new job, because I got new challenges, a newness, but I also didn't have to move and go through all the tough things about a job change. So those are all factors.
Down here front.
Aaron Beard with the AP. Jim, this is a tournament that hasn't always had the most unpredictability of, 1, 2s, and 3s and 4s always making it, but this is a bracket where you guys are in here. North Carolina had to win on the road also. How difficult is that to pull as a lower seed, to kind of have these breakthrough moments in March in the women's game?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's difficult, or you'd see more of it. But I think we're on the cusp of seeing more of that. I believe that the balance and the parity is on its way. I don't know at the very, very top. I think it's tougher, but I do believe that outside of maybe those teams that have really stockpiled and have an older team, have a lot of All-Americans and they're older. I think those are the teams that it's really tough to beat them. But I think beyond that, there is a parity. I think for us, style of play is a factor. Like we play differently than a lot of teams, and I think that really helped us. I know I've said this, but when JR from Colorado was asked before our first round game, well, who's the comparable team in the Pac-12 to Creighton? She's like, nobody. Like they play differently, and I think that helps when you've gone from a 16 or 18 or 20 game conference schedule, and you're playing teams that you're familiar with. They play the same way they played last year, first time, second time at conference tournament. Now all of a sudden, 2.5 months later, you're playing a team that's different, and it's different than you've seen in your league. And now you got to figure out a way to practice. It's like if I was a football coach and all I saw was I'm in the Big 12, and all I see is pass happy teams, and now I'm going to play a team that's going to run the ball 60 times. That's an adjustment. I think that helps us in a tournament. I think that's because we're unconventional offensively. We kind of invert, and our bigs can play like smalls, and our offense isn't, it's a little less, it's a little more random than a lot of offenses. So, and I think that helped us in our short prep against Iowa too. Even though we scrimmage Iowa every year, I know that again, we're just different, and that can help us. So I think there's 2 points. One, there is parity coming. It's better than it's ever been. But I think from Creighton's standpoint, it helps us that we're just a little bit different from a style standpoint.
We're going to go back over here, third row, left.
Head coach Gabe Ibrahim, Jays 24/7. So I'd want to know, I have 2 questions. So the first is, what about Iowa State is stressing you out? What's been the thing that you focus on? And secondly, I know you mentioned that you accidentally brought your wife's pants to Iowa City. Did you bring the pants back? Because they kind of feel like a Lucky Charm.
I'll answer the first one, or the second one first. I mean, No, I did not bring them. I'm disappointed. I thought about it. I don't know if she packed them. If she did, maybe I can wear them. I thought about wearing them in the locker room before the game, but then not wearing them out in front of the audience. But what stresses me out about Iowa State is Ashley Jones, Emily Ryan, Lexi Donarski. Bill and his staff do a great job of playing to their strengths and making you play away from your strengths. I mean, and that's what they'll do tomorrow night. I mean, they are who they are. They can really stretch you out because of the way they shoot the ball, and then they've got good one-on-one players. Obviously, Ashley, but I think Emily Ryan's a really good one-on-one player, and Donarski's good. And then, they're gonna know what they want to do defensively. They're going to have a plan on who they're going to leave and who they're going to focus on more, who they're going to try to take out of the game. And I think they really scheme defensively well. I think Bill has always done that. I think when he got in the Big 12 and he saw all those athletes at Texas and Baylor, and that he knew he had to be really good in that area, and he has traditionally done a great job of that. So, I think that's gonna present. We're gonna be challenged on both ends, but again, I think we're not the easiest team to prepare for, and we are maybe a little bit different than a lot of teams because we don't run a cookie cutter offense where you can just say here's what we're gonna do. We're a little bit, like I said, we're a little bit more random and a little bit more able to kind of morph during the course of a game into something a little different than what we maybe were the previous game.
Go right here in the middle, third row.
Hi, Lindsay Gibbs with Power Plays. There are a lot of changes off court, mainly this year, name, image, and likeness. I was wondering how you've addressed that with your players and kind of how you talk with your players, and also kind of as the spotlight's getting bigger here, like are things changing?
Yeah. I guess I haven't had that many conversations with them about that. I mean, we did last summer, but my understanding is limited enough that I left it to people who knew more to talk about it. And I also know that our young women are smart enough to kind of figure some of that stuff out better than I am, because it is mostly social media based. It's what are you going to do? What is your social media platform? And that's how most of the deals are being made. And our players are not looking to me for that kind of guidance. But and my biggest thing is I just want to treat them in a way that they wouldn't want to leave Creighton even if they didn't get to capitalize on that. That's the biggest thing, is we want to be as authentic when they come to Creighton as we supposedly were when we recruited them. And if we feel like if we treat them the right way, they maybe aren't quite as willing to think that that's going to affect their experience all that much. And I think it's great that we have it, but I think it's also important that we don't think that they have to have that, because not every kid is going to have that, and you need those kids to be bought in and invested. So I'm not I certainly didn't fight it, but I'm also I'm not that smart, but I'm smart enough to know that that's not an area where I can really help them, but we do give them the resources of people who can, and like I said, they're smart enough to kind of figure that out on their own.
Coach Flannery, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you guys.
A couple minutes, we'll be joined by Creighton student athletes. You got it. Ladies? All right, it's my pleasure to be joined up here on the dais by Creighton student athletes, Molly Mogensen and Emma Ronisek. We're going to take questions. We'll start right away. Start right down here in the middle. Please give us your name and affiliation, and also let us know who your question is for.
Tommy Birch, Des Moines Register. I was just kind of wondering, what is it that makes Coach Flannery's just personality and style fit so well with you guys?
Start with you, Molly.
We all really respect Flan and what he has done with this program, and I think that his ability to care about us as people and players, that it's so great with us on the court.
Yeah, I mean, just echoing what Molly said, just the way that he treats us on and off the court just says so much about his character. Off the court, he can just talk to us like we're real human beings and that like just carry out a conversation like we're friends. And then on the court, he knows when to get serious and he does his job really well. So yeah, we have a lot of respect for him.
Take our next question from right here, second row.
Ellie French, KTV in Omaha. Guys, I just want to know kind of how have the last few days been like for you guys? Obviously a huge win Sunday, but then just, you know, getting on a plane, getting to travel somewhere new. Just what has that experience been like for you guys as a team and personally?
Emma, can you start?
Yeah, it's really been just surreal for us. I mean, for a while we've been on cloud 9, just making it to Sweet 16, beating Iowa on their home floor. It's just been such a fun moment, and it couldn't happen for a better team, I don't think. We're all so close, and we're just like best friends on and off the court. So it's just really exciting.
Anything to add, Molly?
Yeah, I mean, you dream of this as a young kid watching the NCAA tournament, and it's just been so much fun doing it with these girls, like Emma said.
Take our next question from the third row on the left.
This is for both of you guys. Has the week of preparation felt any different? You know, you're coming off such a big high, and you know, there's potential that you're even like looking ahead to what you can do. Like, how has it been preparing, you know, trying to come down and stay up for the next game?
Molly, can you start us?
Yeah, it's been really fun, you know, coming off that win, but I think we've done a really good job of looking forward to our next opponent, and we're just really ready to get into it and get ready for Iowa State.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be hard to come down from such an exciting game, and it is going to be a little different practicing in preparation for the Sweet 16 game. But I mean, I think we're all really bought in, and we know how to channel our energy in the right way. So I'm just really excited to get going.
Far left, down here in the very front.
Aaron Beard with the AP. This is for both of you guys. The women's tournament hasn't always had unpredictability with parity. It's often 1, 2, 3, and 4 in regionals, and here we are with you guys. North Carolina's a 5. Both of you had to win on the road. I'm curious, is there a point of pride in that regard of kind of being one of those teams that surprised people maybe in March a little bit? Here you are as a 10 seed and playing when people are really paying attention.
Let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of programs like Creighton don't get as much like screen time or notice that they normally do as other programs, and just like coming into the tournament, and I wouldn't necessarily say that this was an upset for us, but like everyone else would say that it's an upset, and it's just super cool even thinking about that. And obviously like South Dakota beat Baylor, and like being from South Dakota, that was just really cool, like seeing old AAU teammates make it to the Sweet 16 with me. So like it's just all like a real surreal feeling.
Molly?
Yeah, just to add off of that, I think there's a lot of good women's basketball teams out there that, just like Emma said, don't get as much media or exposure just because of the conference that they're in, but there are so many good basketball teams out there, and this tournament has showed that.
Take our next question back here, second row.
Hey guys, I want to ask you just about the seniors, and specifically, obviously Tatum, you know, coming back for a 5th year. Just how much urgency, I guess, does that put on just trying to keep this postseason alive for them, just kind of knowing that this is really the end of the road for them?
Go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, Tatum has been like a big sister to me. She's been such a great leader for all of us, and we have so much respect for her and what she tells us to do on the court, because she's obviously a vocal leader, and just keeping this alive and playing for her and, you know, those seniors has been so much fun, and just keeping that alive for them has taken a lot in for us.
Emma?
Yeah, and I mean, I've gotten a few questions, like, it's easy enough to just, like, say you've been playing basketball for so long this year, and just, like, we're all a young team, like, the majority of us are sophomores, we've got next year, but it's, like, hard to say that you want to be done when you're playing with or seniors like this. Like, it's hard for Chloe, Peyton, and Tatum. Like, we don't want them to be done, so we're going to do everything in our power for them to stick around.
Take our next question, third row on the left.
So Coach said the thing that's stressing him out about Iowa State is Ashley Jones, Lexi Narski, and Emily Ryan. What have you guys kind of honed in on for Iowa State that you guys are going to have to manage defensively, heading into this game?
Emma, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to pay close attention to our scout. We just have to trust in our coaches, trust in each other with the defensive efforts that we need to make on those girls because they are good players. But at the end of the day, it's just a game of basketball, and we just have to trust in ourselves and our abilities to do that.
Go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, like Emma said, just limiting their touches and, trusting what Flan has given to us in our scout and just staying together.
We're going to take our next question from Zoom. Matt, please introduce yourself and ask us your question.
Matt DeMarinis, White and Blue Review for either player. Iowa State is really good at kind of taking away the strengths of their opponent, and I was just curious what you guys thought in terms of the importance of scoring in the paint and scoring off cuts and making sure you guys are not turning the ball over like last week when you were trying to feed the post and things like that.
Molly.
I think that we can score in a lot of different ways, and I think that if we just stick to who we are and what we do as a team, I think that we are going to be just fine.
Yeah, and just like what Molly said, we are a team that is super fun to watch, I think, because we can score in a bunch of different ways. We have posts who can score inside and shoot threes. We've got guards who can take it to the hole just as strong as anyone. So, I mean, I think just like staying together and doing what we can do, and I think we'll be just fine.
Do we have any other questions? Yep, go back right down here, front.
I'm curious, has Flan said anything to you guys yet to kind of just try and lighten the mood? I mean, he mentioned not bringing his wife's pants this time, but just kind of, has he maybe given you guys any sort of message yet? I know it's not game day quite yet, but just anything maybe to try and calm those nerves.
Emma.
Have you heard anything? I haven't heard anything from him yet, but I would not be shocked at the start of our practice today if he says something.
Yeah, well, in the Iowa game, right before tip-off, he brought us all together and he said, okay, everyone needs to take a deep breath right now. So we all took a deep breath. And we all looked at him, and then he was like, okay, now take another one. We all took a deep breath. So I think just things like that is going to really help us along the way.
Any last questions? Okay, no problem.
Obviously, Lauren really grabbed a lot of attention on Sunday. If people didn't know who she was before, they know who she is now. But I'm curious from your guys' perspective, like, what can you tell us more about her than, obviously her ability on the court and just what she was able to do Sunday? Just what have you seen from her coming in new this year? What can you tell us about her?
Molly.
Yeah, so she just brings so much energy to the game of basketball, and off the court, she's just the sweetest person you will ever meet. We actually played against each other in high school and in AU, and we were both rivals, so we both knew each other through that, but you just kind of know each other on the court. But once we got to know her here, she just fits right in with our sophomore class and especially our team.
Emma?
Yeah, she's so fun to play with because she's so good at basketball, and she's so fun to be around off the floor. Like, I didn't personally know her that well. Like, I knew who she was through basketball and AAU, but I met her the summer before that she was coming to Omaha, and it just clicked. Like, she hung out with our sophomore class, and it was like we weren't adding anyone new. Like, she just clicked and fit in right away, and I think that's just the coolest thing.
Next question from right here, middle, third.
Yeah, Lindsay Gibbs with Power Plays. Wondering how you both have kind of navigated, or if you have really, the name, image, and likeness deals this year, and if any new opportunities are coming your way now that, you're in the Sweet 16 and kind of on a bigger spotlight.
Emma?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I haven't done any NIL deals, and I don't really know why I haven't. But, yeah, I'd say I got a few more messages on Instagram after the Iowa game because we did get a lot of exposure during that game. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if I ended up doing something.
Molly?
Yeah, same with me. I haven't done any NIL deals yet, but with the exposure that we've been getting, I think that it's really good for our team and for those deals.
Do you have agents, or you just dealing with it yourself one-on-one?
Yeah,
Okay.
just with ourselves.
Question right next to her on the left.
This is the last one for me, but have you guys like let yourself like visualize going to the Final Four yet at all, or are you trying to keep it locked in? But have you guys like talked about as a team, like getting there?
Molly.
I'm from Minnesota, so I mean, we've always said, me, Lauren, and Mal are from Minnesota, so we've always talked about, oh, it'd be cool to, go back home and play in front of a home crowd, but I think our focus really now is this next game, but we've definitely, it's always at the back of your mind.
Yeah, it's always hard to focus, especially in this sort of environment, but just taking it one game at a time is the best thing that we can do. But yeah, the games that we could play or that potentially could happen for us are definitely in the back of our heads.
Any last questions? Emma, Molly, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I mess it up? Mogensen. That's okay. I know, but I have the last name Yacola, so I take great pride in trying to get the other.